so that we record this for our YouTube channel, and so that we could spread the word on this great organization. So I'm going to do that introduction again a little bit. Repeat, rewind, repeat. So welcome to Healing Hawai'i with Karen Kaulana. I'm Karen Kaulana. My guests tonight are from Gimme a Break. It's an organization that cares for caregivers, and we have Savy, Makalena, and Lani Almanza. So welcome, Savy and Lani.
Aloha, hi. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And I hope all of you out there are doing well and taking care of yourself. The numbers are so scary with COVID in Hawaii right now, the surge. So please take care of all of yourselves. And I hope you had a healthy and happy holidays and happy New Year. And I hope all of you are well. I haven't seen you guys all for a while. So happy New Year to all of you. I know I have a bunch of followers that follow me, and I forgot to reach out to some of them. Some of them I tagged earlier today, but I hope some of them check it out and are able to jump on or watch the replay on the YouTube link later. But I'm so excited to share with you guys about this organization and have Lani and Savy share about what they do, because it's such a needed resource in our community for so many people that need this care and help during this time. So it's going to be a great hour. I'm so glad you all are hopping on, and I'm excited to learn more. As you know, I always start the show with a blessing, an opening blessing or poem or positive kind of opening message. And I found a prayer for caregivers, and I thought it was beautiful, and so I'm going to start with that. And my blessings go out to everybody for a healthy and happy and prosperous 2022. So we're going to start with the prayer. We're going to take a deep breath. And just be in this moment with each other, so that we can truly connect and hear each other and understand each other, be seen, be heard, be loved. And I pray to our highest creator to provide the words of comfort that we can say, provide strength to make it through this day. We cannot fix things or take control. We accept this, trust in you, and let it go. Help us to listen and be present through the grief. When we grow weary, provide us with relief. May this experience transcend this earthly plane. Help us find greater meaning beyond just pain. Heal our wounded places. Restore us to wholeness. Provide your peace and loving presence to guide us and to hold us. And in the name of your great Son, a physician and healer, amen. 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 Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome, Savy and Lani. Savy, I don't know, I'm going to say your name a whole million different ways, probably. I'm going to say Savy, I don't know. So I apologize. But
okay, I answered a hui.
Okay. I am so excited to hear you, and that you guys are here and that I get to meet you. And shout out to Tevin Rigger. Hi, Tevin, who's watching us now, because he was like, hey, you got to interview my friends with this organization that he's helping with, Gimme a Break. And before we get into what Gimme a Break is all about, tell me a little bit about yourselves, your background, where you grew up, where you're from, just a little bit about yourselves. Savy.
Yeah, I'm born and raised and made in Hawaii. My parents validate that I was made here. So actually thought about getting the stamp, on the back of my butt there. But I grew up on Oahu. I've lived on 4 different islands. So I've lived on Oahu, I've lived on Maui, I've lived on Kauai, and I've lived on the Big Island. So yeah, so collectively I've covered most of Hawaii landscape, but I spent most of my time on Oahu, and I grew up as a child in Ewa Beach, and then we moved completely across the island to Hawaii Kai, and I spent the rest of my teen years here and graduated from Kaiser out in Hawaii Kai. And mind you, we lived here when it was still pig farm and swamp. So
Wow.
that's how old I am, and that's how far back I go. There was a lot that wasn't here when I was going to school. In fact, I was the first 4-year graduating class out of Kaiser, so that ages me.
Wow, that's amazing though. So
Yeah.
you're born on Oahu.
Yeah.
Born and grew up in Oahu. Wow, beautiful. Awesome. How about you, Lani? What's your background?
Born and raised on Oahu. Like Savy, my parents can validate I was made here. My parents both came over from Nebraska. My dad was in the Navy and grew up on the windward side, totally. From Waimanalo, moved to Kailua. When I got married, I moved really far up the coast, 6 miles to Kaneohe.
Wow.
And I graduated from Kailua High School. And then over the years of being a wife and mother, I also completed my education at University of Hawaii.
Nice. What was your degrees in?
Communications.
Nice, nice. And then we were talking earlier about your role in public health, because I worked in public health for many years. I actually worked for Kalipalama Health Center and Kokua Kalihi Valley Health Center. I worked for Palama Settlement for a little while. What else? I worked for the Sex Abuse Treatment Center for a little while. I worked in public health agencies in the community for, gosh, over 20 years. And you were working in public health as well, right?
That's correct. So let's see, I retired after 15 years with the American Cancer Society in 2020. And I got into that work because of a caregiving experience I had. My youngest son passed away from cancer in 2005. And through his journey, got affiliated with the American Cancer Society. And I actually had just started working for them as a full-time employee when he reached his final months. So from there, spent 15 years in that cancer-focused space. And when I retired, it was to move towards the health and wellness space, really looking at how we prevent people from getting ill. And a lot of that is based on stress. So I actually started my own business called Alaka'i Associates. And that's one of the things that I focus on is stress management and self-care.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm so sorry to hear about the loss of your son. And
He's
so
he's my inspiration and my mentor.
Beautiful. And so because you've been a caregiver and you've gone through this journey, you can personally relate to what we're going to be talking about tonight and this organization that you're a part of. And
Yes.
thank you so much, you both, for sharing about where you grew up. Savy, you also have a personal connection because you've been a caregiver or a caregiver. Can you share about that?
Yeah, actually, I call myself a lifetime caregiver because I took care of my mother even as a child. She was a Japanese national that came here and couldn't speak English well. So as I learned English going into school, I taught her English. And so when I did my homework, I helped her learn to read and write. She never had great reading or writing skills. So if she needed to read a recipe, I had to read it for her. Write a check, I wrote a check for her. So I was always kind of in that nurture headspace, even as a child. And then, of course, in another caregiving role, I became a mother and had a son. And then I became a grandmother and had grandchildren. And then more recently, I've cared for my own parents, where my mother had a stroke, and then my father fell down a full flight of stairs a week later. So I had both of them that I was caring for, and then about a year and a half later, my father passed, and my mother is now in the last stages of dementia, which is something both Lani and I have in common, and we use each other's shoulder all the time. So yes, still caregiving to this day. So we get it. We know what it's like. We ourselves are caregivers and continue to be and have been in those roles. And so we can definitely empathize with caregivers.
Yeah, wow. Um, yeah, I can relate because I was a caregiver for my mother. Many people know for about 5 years before she passed away. And so it's not easy, it's challenging, it's both rewarding and extremely challenging. And so is that what inspired you to start this organization? Was it you, Savy, that started Give Me a Break?
Yeah, myself and two others, associates of mine, we were all caregivers at the time, and we were working in the same company. And we were using each other as what we call our safe person now, right? So you have a safe person who you can go to that doesn't judge you and lets you cry and laughs with you and cries with you and helps you. And so we were all each other's safe person. We were all going through it. We all had parents that were aging, and we were dealing with it and trying to work full-time jobs and shoulder all that responsibility. And so when it came about that, and I lost my job because of caregiving, right? The weight of caregiving. 60% of caregivers do that. It's actually, the statistic has gone up to 65 now, which is just a crime in itself. But that's another subject. And so,
No, I can relate to that because I couldn't
yeah.
work full time when I was caring for my mom. She needed
Right.
24/7 care. We could not afford a nurse or someone to come in. So it was on the family, and it was me and my brother, but my brother worked full time and we didn't want him to give up the job because we needed supplies. We needed her
Yes.
medicine, her diapers, her everything, all the supplies that we needed constantly for her. And so he
Yeah.
worked, gave me a break for dinner, but I couldn't work. So I worked small jobs in between here and there, but would have to run home to feed her, change her, check on her. And so I totally get it. It's
Yeah.
almost impossible or very difficult to hold a full-time job. And
that in itself is
yeah.
exhausting. I mean, and the stress from that is it eats away inside of you, right? And so the more and more there's awareness being created, and hopefully our politicians and senators and legislators will realize the importance of providing income for caregivers who have lost their job or can no longer work because of the weight of caregiving. And it's slowly starting to change. We're seeing some progress there. And again, that's a whole other show where we could talk about what's going on out in the world of politics. But because of it, you lose your job and then you have nothing. You're trying to pay bills like you. I did the same thing. I took a job at the golf course. I was working part-time, trying to take care of my parents, trying to make tips, schlepping beers. And, I was an executive and lost my job, right? So the amount of pay that you go to, and that shock in itself, and then trying to get bills paid, trying to cover your costs, and then take care of your parents, and seeing them deteriorate and realizing you need to be there full time. And so, yeah, they were going through the same thing. We were all going through it. And that was how we all kind of got together. And we said, we wanted to do something together. We know we wanted to do something together. We wanted to move forward and just get away from having to be dependent on somebody and start our own business. And I said, I just feel so mission oriented. And I think we just need to do something. No caregiver, no anyone should have to feel the way we feel or go through what we go through. There has to be something we can do. Just has to. And so we started talking more and more about it. And then if you go on our website, you'll see the mission experience. And I'm sorry, I'm going to keep talking a little bit.
No, go ahead.
Our mission experience.
What's your website, though, by the way, for people?
It's www.gab808.com. So gab808.com is our website. And if you go on our website, you'll see our mission experience. And it actually happened right here in Hawai'i at the Costco. And I was with my mother, and my father had passed away. And I worked at that time. So the only time I could go shopping was on a weekend. And if you know what it's like on a Saturday at Costco out here in Hawai'i, or any Costco for that matter, it's insane. And so my mother at that point wasn't walking well. She was still ambulatory. And she would hold on to my arm so that I wouldn't lose her and she wouldn't wander because of her dementia. And we had gotten up to the register, and there was a lady there who was with her kupuna. It must have been maybe her grandpa, or it could have been her father. He was very aged, and he was doing the wander. And if anyone who's been through dementia or any kind of dementia like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or anything, you understand what the wander is, and they tend to kind of just go off. They're not sure where they are. They're lost. And she was just screaming at him. I mean, she was just, "What I told you, get over here. I told you, sit down." I mean, she had completely lost her mind, and she was just screaming. And in the meantime, the death grip on my arm from my mother was cutting off my blood circulation. So I looked over at Mom and I patted her hand. I said, "It's okay, Mom. It's okay. I love you. I promise I'll never yell at you like that. I promise it's okay." And so then I looked up at the lady and I said to her, "Hey, it's okay. You don't have to yell." And so she spun on me and she turned on me and she was screaming, "You don't know what I'm effing going through. You don't know." La, la, la. She went off. Right. So calming my mom down now, and she took off. But the whole experience made me realize that she was screaming. Will someone just listen to me? Will somebody just give me a break? Will someone just see that I'm exhausted. I'm completely lost my mind. And I was with my mom, so I couldn't have done anything, but I wish that I had been able to have done something for her. And that became our mission experience to constantly remind us that there are caregivers out here who need a break. She was screaming, "Give me a break." And that's how I even got the name, because they need a break, and not just a one-time break. They need help. They need support. They need resources. And as we started talking more and more about it, Give Me a Break developed.
Wow, that is powerful. And by the way, I got to tell you, I've been that lady. Not necessarily in the store, but in the home. I swore at my mom. I got angry, and it was out of just overwhelm, lack of sleep, frustration. And I felt really guilty about it after she passed. And then I found that so many people go through that and have done that.
Yeah.
And
I did too.
I had the same experience with my dad.
Yeah.
Lani?
Yeah. Yeah, my father had Parkinson's related dementia. And towards the end, before we moved them to a care home, when they were still living independently, I would go every day after a full day's work. I'd stop by their house to check on them. And I'd find my dad up on a ladder with a pair of hedge clippers. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, I could come home to a disaster. Yeah. And there were times where I just lost it with him. It's like, "Dad, what don't you get? Like, if you fall down and break a hip, that's the end."
Yeah.
It just,
In fact, in our support sessions, we actually have a series. It's like a 8 or 10-part series that we go through called Letting Go of Caregiver Guilt. And so we each week talk about the different ways to release that guilt that we're still all holding. And each time I go through that series, it's like we've been through it, what now, Lani, twice, I think, right? Or something. And each time you release more and more. And so our sessions are amazing. And everyone's welcome to it. It's all on our website, but everyone's welcome to join. It's for any caregiver, but it really is just a session. It's not psychology. It's not counseling. It's just a bunch of us sharing our stories and learning together and holding hands as a community to validate that it's okay. And we support one another that way.
Yeah, a lot of
that's powerful.
Education and resource sharing.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Lani, but can you repeat that?
I said there's a lot of education and sharing resources that goes on in those sessions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Give Me a Break starts after that experience in Costco, and you and your friends get together and you're all going through the same thing. And you started in 2020, right before the pandemic.
Just before the pandemic. We had no idea the pandemic was coming. Here's where you wish you could kind of predict the future or have a time machine, because literally as soon as we became a 501c and we got our letter and everything was ready to go, boom, we went into quarantine. And it was like, but that's okay, because out of some things more beauty can come, right? And so it's like the macadamia nut, right? It's a hard thing, but once you get to the inside, the nut itself is just glorious. So kind of like the kukui, right? Which is yours, Lani. And so, we really learned that caregivers can't get out. I mean, caregivers have been in quarantine for the entire time they've been caregivers. So a COVID means nothing to them. It was like, we do this every day. And, so it actually helped us get more in touch with people via social media, on Zoom. We were able to do one-on-ones, and we had a lot more time. People were home more. They were embracing their caregiving. So we were able to find the joy in caregiving in that year, really, even though it was virtual.
I actually think that was divine timing, because I think the need probably escalated during COVID. I mean, because now you're dealing with COVID. I couldn't even imagine having to care for my mom through COVID, and the worry and the stress I would feel, and her, and just everything that we went through with COVID. So I think that was divine timing that your organization started right for that. First of all, I commend you, because I could never have started an organization while caregiving. I was exhausted. There was not another drop of energy that I could give to somebody else during the time I was caregiving. So I don't even know how you did that. Like how you're doing that.
Well, my mother got to the point where, and this is what I always call it, the last fall. They fall. And she got to the last fall, and that was the last time she walked. And it took 6 EMS to come and help her get up and get her on a gurney. And she never walked again. She became non-ambulatory. And then she went into hospice. And, of course, my mother, who's wonderfully an overachiever, she graduated hospice. But in the interim, we had to find her foster care for her, because she needed 24-hour care, and I couldn't afford to keep having people coming in, and I couldn't pay nurses, RNs to come in, CNAs to come in and care for her 24/7. It's the cost. And so I had a wonderful hospice liaison who helped me find foster care for her. And so she's now been in foster care for a couple of years. She's doing well, but she's declining. So one of the things I did, and this is where our Letting Go series was great for me, was that I carried the guilt of telling and promising my mother I would never put her in a home. And so it helped me let go of that and appreciate and understand my decision and come to terms with it, because after I put her into the foster care home, I went into deep depression. I was exhausted. I was surrounded by negativity. I was feeling guilty. I mean, I could go on and on with all of the different things that were going on mentally. And so I went into depression, and I came out of it with this whole hope to start Gimme a Break. And I swore to myself that I won't let caregivers go through this or feel this way, that something had to be done. I had to make a change. We had to do something. And that's where this comes from.
Wow. Okay. We have to get to how you define caregivers, because it's not just people caring for their elderly parents, although that's the majority a lot of times.
Right.
But you have a wider definition of caregiver, and I want to get to the services you offer. I want to hear about this letting go session and other things you do for caregivers. And then I'll get to Lani and your role in this organization and what you do and what you.
She's my sister from another mister.
There's just so much, but let's
great
talk
story behind that.
There is a great.
So let's first dive into how you define caregivers. So who can benefit from your organization, and what resources and services you provide.
Okay. So definition of a caregiver really is anyone who cares for another living thing, really. Rosalind Carter said it best. She said there's basically 4 kinds of caregivers. There's caregiving. Either you were, you are, you will be, or you'll need a caregiver, right? So caregiving touches everyone's lives. It touches all of us. We're all touched by caregiving in one way or another. We all know someone who's a caregiver. We are a caregiver, and I call it people, pets, and plants, right? So if you take care of people, pets, and plants, you're a caregiver. And really the word care is kind of the definer, if you care. So a caregiver could be somebody who takes care of kupuna. It could be somebody who takes care of their pets. It could be a teacher. A teacher is one of the greatest caregivers out there. They take lives in their hands, right? And in their heart. A mentor, if you've had a boss who went that extra mile for you and is a mentor and cares about their employees, they're caregivers. You know, you'd be surprised. A lot of people say, oh, I don't have any kids. Oh, my parents are all passed. I'm not a caregiver. No, you're still a caregiver if you care. So if you don't give a crap about people, then you're not a caregiver. That's fine. Go live on a deserted island and be happy. Great. Or help us because we need volunteers. But for the most part, everybody's a caregiver, right?
Nurses, you mentioned
Nurses. Oh my goodness, tirelessly. It doesn't matter whether you're part-time, full-time, on call, you get paid, you don't get paid, it doesn't matter. You're putting your heart and you're caring for another individual, you're a caregiver. EMS workers, caregivers, police, caregivers. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Wow.
So everyone is a caregiver and everyone deals with the same, just different levels, right? But the same type of feelings of guilt, feelings of empathy. We're all caregivers.
Yes.
So
what services does Gimme a Break provide to all of the caregivers and those that they care for?
So we provide resources, support, respite, which is the Gimme a Break part. And we do the respite in many ways. It's not, we do the one-time break as well. We need to get to know people and find out what works for them and, try to see how we can help them. So we want to develop a case for you. We're going to get you in, we're going to talk with you in an interview. We're going to find out what we can do to help. It's not just about, here's a gift certificate to get a manicure, because that means nothing. That means nothing, right? We're here for the long haul. We want to care for the caregiver now and in the future. So the caregiver's well-being is everything. It's very holistic. We want to make sure that we care for your mental, your physical, all of the wellness wheel is going to be hit, every part of it. So the resources are everything too, right? We have trusted partners that we connect with, and these are all trusted partners that are caregivers themselves, who have been through it, who have the patience and heart to understand what you're going through and what your needs are. Not companies that are there trying to scam off of a caregiver who doesn't have the time. So, there was a time when I needed to get my mom a bed rail, for instance, so she wouldn't fall out of bed. And I tried calling several places. They never got back to me. I didn't know what to do. I ordered something on Amazon. It cost an arm and a leg, but I got it. I had to install it myself. And now I find out there are companies who help you with that. There are partners of ours now who help you with those things. We'll help you. We'll guide you to what to do. We'll find volunteers who will help install that for you. And we're pulling all those resources together into one place. And so we become that one-stop place for caregivers to get resource, to get support. And sometimes support might just be a listening ear. Right? We have our support sessions that we do every week. And those are miraculous. We've seen changes in caregivers from their shoulders going down to lifting up at least 2 to 3 inches, and of course we do have seminars and events and education. And yes, we do the grand break as well.
And so, wow, this is amazing. Are all these services free?
Absolutely.
Wow, free. And they just go to gab808.com. GAB, which is Gimme a Break, gab808.com. And they can find out more about what you offer, or even just give you a call or contact you.
They can contact us through the website, yes.
Through the website to kind of figure out how you can help them in whatever their need may be, whether it's getting a certain supply, paying for something that they need,
or connecting them with a trusted partner,
or a respite, like a break, giving them a break. So letting them take a break and having being able to support them in that. And then you also have weekly support sessions online That's amazing to just be able to come online and talk
Yeah,
about and
that's the
share.
beauty of it, is it's online, right? So you don't even have to leave your home. You can be sitting right next to your caree, the person you care for, and you could just be on your phone with an earbud in, and you can still be listening into the sessions or participating, and it's right there. It's that easy, and you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to leave your caree alone.
Wow.
It works really well.
And then these letting go sessions, is that the same as the support sessions, or is that different?
Yeah,
Something different?
No, so in our support sessions, we go through series. And so right now, we're in our pause series, which is pause is the acronym for knowing when to take a pause as a caregiver. So we're in our pause series, and that's a 10-part series. We're almost halfway through. And then we're going to go into our wellness series after that, where we touch the 8 different parts of the wellness wheel and talk about self-care and wellness. And then after that, we may go back to our letting go series again, because it's such a good series. But each one of them is just full of information that we share, and we all talk about it. And then we exchange tips, right? So like, I went through that too. Here's what I did. I went through that too. Oh, I didn't know that. And so it's community, right? I mean, if you think about it, and I grew up in Hawaii, and when it was time to do something simple like string lay, okay, Mayday was coming, string lay. Everybody came over to whoever's house had all the flowers. We all sat down, we all picked flowers, we all string them, right? That's what we did. It was community. Everybody in the community got together. Somewhere along the way, we lost community.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to it. Even I would go to some auntie's house and take care of somebody else's auntie or somebody else's, grandma or somebody else's grandpa. It doesn't matter, because we were all family. We were all community. Somewhere along the way, we lost that. And I want to bring community back. As caregivers, we need to hold hands, and we need to help each other and form a community so that we get through this together, right? Nobody should be left behind, and nobody should get forgotten, right? Just like Stitch.
Yes, Lilo and Stitch. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. So your session, that's weekly. Is it only once a week at a specific day and time?
No, we have 3 different ones through the week. So if you can't come to one, you can always come to the other. So there's Tuesday nights at 8:00, Friday nights at 8:00 p.m., both p.m., and Saturdays at 3:30 in the afternoon. We're actually been talking to some care workers, and we're finding out that they want a morning session. So we've been discussing the possibility of starting a morning session and moving the Friday evening to Friday mornings. Just because I've had several care workers, we did a pamper session for about 300 care workers in November. And in November, we went to Arcadia, Lunalila Home, and we did massages and hand massages and meditation sessions for almost 300 care workers. And a lot of them are wanting to come to the sessions, but because of their hours. And so they're saying, well, what about the mornings? Do you have anything in the mornings? And so we've been in talks about starting a morning session.
Nice. Awesome. Okay. I know, and you guys do all these events, and there's a lot of things that people can benefit and take advantage of in what you're offering through Give Me a Break. I'm just so astounded that it's free. You guys are a godsend. You ladies are a godsend to our community. Lani, how did you get involved with Give Me a Break, and what's your role?
The universe orchestrated this. So I had met a young man when I was with the American Cancer Society. He went on a trip to Israel during COVID. He came back to Hawaii. We met and had lunch. He actually does the podcast with Savy, the Caring Caregiver show. And he, like the week after we had lunch, he called me and he said, you have to meet this lady. I just met her, but I think you and her I think you guys would just, work really well together. I said, okay, sure. So I texted her and she said, yeah, let's meet. So following week, I go down there. Well, Evan is his name. Evan happens to be there. He didn't know I was coming that day. So we sit down and we start chatting, and our personal and professional journeys just meshed. I mean, it was,
Wow.
like she says, we really felt like we were sisters from other misters. Her father's
Wow.
Dutch, my father's Dutch. But beyond that, it was just that I had that caregiving experience. That's why I did what I did for 15 years. And actually, like I said, I had retired in 2020, started my own business, Alaka'i Associates, and was really trying to find where the direction I wanted to go with that. COVID had kind of changed my plans a little bit. And so when she and I connected, I had been planning to do a retreat. And that morning she had been talking to Evan about having a retreat. So we were able to collaborate on that. And just, she asked me if I wanted to be one of their trusted partners. Yeah, whatever that means. So I've offered a couple of sessions as well for self-care. And then we did the retreat together. And then this woman is really sly in getting people to volunteer. She sends me, so before I do that, she started an e-magazine for Give Me a Break. It's called Giver's Guide. And so the first issue, I go in one day and she says, could you just look at this? I printed it out. It's going to be online, but I printed it out. And could you just, sort of red pen it? I said, okay, no problem. I can do that. I have a degree in communications. I did communications for the American Cancer Society. Sure, no problem. I get home and a couple of days later, I get an email that says, I think I forgot to send you this email, but every magazine needs an editor. I'm like, so more than the red pen? She's like, yeah. And if I have an editor, I need a letter from the editor.
Wow.
Lo and behold, you now see the contributing editor for the Giver's Guide magazine.
Wow, that is awesome. Oh my gosh.
And I have to tell you though, our hearts just meshed right away. And we just really immediately were able to, and we have this connection. I can't even explain it. But we feel this with so many of our caregivers, this immediate connection because of just what we go through and what we carry, right? And when we started Giver's Guides, which is actually a separate company, it's a magazine, online magazine for caregivers. It's specifically and only for caregivers. It's an amazing magazine, and all the proceeds from Giver's Guide go to help fund Gimme a Break. So please get a subscription to our magazine. And it's a wonderful thing. But I also got her to write articles for it too now. So we all contribute articles. And we write, we just did a bunch of articles for January that are all about new you and how to get through 2022 as a caregiver. It's always from the POV. It's always from the point of view of the caregiver. Always. And no one does that.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. The Giver's Guide costs how much a month to subscribe to?
It's actually a yearly, and it's like $24.99. It's $25. You get 12 issues for the year. It's like, really, it's not much. It's hardly anything, but it's just to get that information out there, get the resources in the hands of the caregivers. And it's an online magazine, so you don't have to worry about anything in print or any more paper anywhere. So it's eco-friendly, and you can read it right on your phone.
And you have information, not only articles, but information of resources and stuff in that magazine.
Yes, resources and what's coming up, our events, everything.
Yeah, so everybody that advertises in that, in the Giver's Guide is a trusted partner in some way, that we've already vetted their resources and their services, that it does support caregivers and that they support the mission of Give Me a Break.
Right.
Wow.
So not everyone's in that magazine.
Okay, so that's $24.99 a yearly subscription, and
12 issues.
12 issues targeted at caregivers. If someone is not necessarily, well, I mean, like you said, everybody's a caregiver, but let's say they want to gift it to someone who really is in need. Can people do that as well? So like maybe they
absolutely, we encourage that.
Yeah, they might not need the e-magazine, but somebody who might be benefiting from those resources, and you could buy the yearly subscription and gift it to somebody.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. Gifted to a caregiver. That's it. And we actually ran that through for the December issue, and we said that this is the best gift you can get a caregiver because it's resources and it's encouragement and motivation and inspiration. And we even have little puzzles at the end of it. It's like a puzzle. I mean, what do you look for, right? You sit there and do a puzzle at the end of the day.
No, that's
So,
good.
ha ha ha. But it's just kind of a great thing for a caregiver to know that someone is willing to put the time into a magazine just for them. What a great thing, right? This isn't an article for older people or retirement, or it's only for caregiving. It's embracing caregiving.
Wow. Wow. That is so needed. And that I thank you so much for providing that in our community and all of these services. Lani mentioned a podcast. So you do a podcast as well?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So Evan, Evan, who I met through another friend of mine who I worked with as well. You worked at Maui Divers, and I did, and so did Naomi, who introduced me to Evan. And she met Evan through a class he was doing, a dance class, and she said, "You need to meet Savy." And so she brought Evan over, and Evan and I immediately bonded. And so then we started talking about, we've got to get the word out. How do we touch caregivers? We need to do something. And I know you have your sessions, he said, but let's do something, we should do something. And I said, well, why don't we just do a live show? And he says, yeah, like a podcast. I said, perfect. So we started doing this live show. We're in our third season now. And it's the Caring Caregiver Show. And it was originally called Caring. And so we've now added the Caring Caregiver Show, but we do it every week, Wednesday at noon, and it's on Facebook. We go live, it's on YouTube, and it's on every podcast platform. So you can hear all of our episodes in podcast on Spotify or Apple, they're all there. And we just really talk about caregiving, and we have guests on that talk about all the different things that are offered there. We talk to our trusted partners. I'd love to have you, Karen, on our show as well.
I love it.
And it's just ways to get information out to caregivers, to motivate, to inspire, to resource them.
Is that
weekly? Anything we can do.
Is that a weekly podcast? Weekly. And
yep, every
what is it called again? So people can Google it and find it. Caring.
It's a Caring Caregiver Show.
The Caring Caregiver Show.
And if you go on Facebook, Caring Caregiver Show. Yep, and it's our live show. But if you go on our Gimme a Break Facebook page too, it streams live there as well. We stream live on about 4 different platforms simultaneously. So whenever we're live, it's going to be on the Caring Facebook page. It's going to be on Caregiver Health Club, which is Evans, on YouTube. It'll be on Give Me a Break. It's on so many different things. But again, you can go to our website and see that. And if not, go to our Facebook page, Give Me a Break Facebook page. And there's so much information there. And I post something every day to just help you get through the day. So there's always good information there.
Yeah. And one of the things I like about the Caring Caregiver Show is that it does span across all types of caregivers, and bringing in people, and not just local people. They've reached out to people across the country that have different caregiving experiences and can offer different resources. So it doesn't have to necessarily be resources that are just here in Hawaii. There might be someone somewhere else that has the resource for your particular type of caregiving experience.
And we, our goal is to go worldwide, right? We'd love to be able to go nationwide and then eventually go worldwide, because there's caregivers everywhere. And we have reached out to California, Las Vegas, Maryland, Florida, to caregivers there who we've been able to help resource them locally. And we did the research. They called us saying help, and we did the research. We went and found out who we can get in touch with, who we can get them in touch with in their area that can help them with that particular situation. And 9 times out of 10, we're able to find somebody locally that can help them. So we'll do the legwork on that.
That is awesome. Are you guys doing this full time?
Yes, I am. I try to get Lani to do as much as I can.
Writer, contributing editor. I have my own business to run.
Oh, okay, because you have Alaka'i Associates, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about Alaka'i Associates. Is that
So it's a health and wellness focused business. My mission is to help people live a more activated life in health and wellness. It was actually started using that name over 20 years ago as a personal and professional development consulting business, and then got put on hold as I went through my caregiving experience with my son, Jacob. And like I said, he is my mentor and my inspiration. And so about 5-6 years ago, I decided I wanted to revive it in some way, focused on health and wellness. And so I offer just guidance. I don't like to say I'm a health coach. I think in today's world, that has a certain, they expect you to have some certifications. I just have a lifetime of caregiving experience and what I've learned about protecting your health and wellness through that. Is what I have to offer and what I can guide people through. So I offer free 30-minute health assessment consultation. And then I also have wellness products that I sell to support your health and wellness.
Oh,
And I want to point out, Lani gives of her time all the time. So when we have seminars or like at our retreat that we did out in Ka'ava this past August, she gives her talks as well. She helps with mini seminars. She just did a wonderful on her own, but and it was awesome about wellness and journaling. And so that was amazing. And she's always willing to step up and help give presentations at all of our functions. And I just don't know what I would do without her, because otherwise they just have to listen to my voice all the time.
wow.
It was when I connected with Gimme a Break, my two worlds came together, is that I wanted to do something mission oriented and found a nonprofit. And I support a couple other nonprofits by giving my time and doing free seminars. And then on the other side is my actual business activity. So the two go hand in hand. And one of the seminars we did in the fall was telling your story, because oftentimes caregivers really don't know how to express what they're experiencing or what they've experienced. And so we walked them through a process of how to tell your story. And we used some of those for the Giver's Guide magazine.
Yeah. And, that's the whole thing, right? Is that because they can't tell their story, you can't get a healing, right? Because telling your story is healing. And it's a step in the right direction to start recognizing and releasing. And so we did a full day at Bye Bye Collective over by university. We did a full day seminar all about telling your story and putting a happy end to your story. And it was just an amazing, it was like a mini retreat seminar. It was nice.
Wow. And I heard you guys mention a retreat. You guys do retreats, and is that for the caregivers, like to go on retreat?
We did.
What happens at the retreat?
Oh, it was awesome. So we did our first retreat was, I don't know. I think all of our pamper sessions and our pause and pamper and all of them are all kind of mini retreats, but this was an actual full day retreat. And we had about, I'm trying to remember, maybe it was around 20 or 30 caregivers out there for the day out at the Windward Retreat Center in Ka'ava. And we just spent the day really just learning all different kinds of techniques. It was really about learning. It was really about a release. We did the primal yell out on the beach, and we did some gardening. We did some talks about how to let go, part of the letting go series we shared. We ate.
Even with the eating, we focused on healthy eating. As a caregiver, oftentimes you find yourself just grabbing whatever is convenient.
Yes.
And so at the retreat, the snacks and meals that we provided were focused on how to do that more healthy.
And meal planning and what you can do instead of, and so, we just try to it was just kind of laid back. It was really great. And everyone, I think, that was there was able to benefit, and we offered it to a whole group of caregivers. So we'd like to do more of those.
That's incredible. Oh my gosh. I wish I had those when I was caregiving. I almost want to go now because I still have to let go of some stuff.
Yes.
I still have to tell my story and still have to deal with all the things.
Yes.
So like I still could benefit from that now. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
And is that totally free for people?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow,
we have asked for donation in some cases where we've had to pay for venues, and we might ask to help cover those costs. But it's usually very minimal. I know somebody who said something to me once. They're like, do you know how much a retreat like this would cost in the real world? You know, and I'm like, yes, I do, but that's not what we're about. We're about what happens here, not about how much you have to pay to get it to happen. And I mean, if you feel it in your heart to contribute, and some caregivers couldn't contribute anything, and others, we had quite a bit of donations for that, and some people give from the heart. And I believe in the gift of the heart, right? Because the gift from the heart is the best one. So if it's a penny or a pound of pennies, it's from the heart, and that's what matters.
Wow, that's awesome.
One thing with the retreat and with the annual gala that we do for our Caregiver of the Year, one thing that we are looking for is sponsors. So we're looking for organizations or corporations or individuals to come on as a sponsor for those events.
Right. Yeah,
well, I heard about that you guys recently had a gala. My friend Tevin attended because he's a caregiver with his grandma. And so, and you guys actually, people can nominate or a caregiver or vote for a caregiver, and then you get chosen and awarded something at your gala.
Right. So every year November is National Caregiver Appreciation Month. It's a month long. And so every November we have our Caregiver of the Year contest. And it's kind of like how a pageant is not about a beauty pageant, it's a scholarship pageant, right? So a Caregiver of the Year contest is not about a caregiver winning prizes, although that's a great thing. It's about awareness. And so what we do throughout the month of November is we have caregivers throughout October sign up. And then in November, every day we post caregiver stories on our Facebook page, so that you can see the stories of the caregivers. And that's why in October we have our seminar about Tell Your Story, so they can learn to tell their story. Then we share that story in November. And every day there's posts. So every day you can see, oh my God, I feel just like that. Or people can relate to it. And then they like, love, or care. And whoever gets the most likes, love, or cares at the end of the month becomes our Caregiver of the Year.
Wow.
So we celebrate the Caregiver of the Year with this year we had a great prize package, and, we just have a gala that they all come to, and they can be around other caregivers. And it's just sort of a great event. It really helps caregivers to see that it creates that awareness. Somebody's here, someone's listening. You do matter. You're not invisible. And we care about you, and that's what it's really about.
You both are amazing. Your organization is amazing. This is so needed in our world right now. I feel like, oh my gosh, to be seen, to be heard, to matter, to know you matter, and to be valued. Even when you're going through a storm, or when you're going through a really challenging time, that can be super stressful, because a lot of times the caregiver ends up having health issues or dying before the person they're caring for, because that's how stressful it is on so many levels: mental, emotional, physical. So needed. So how many people is in your network right now, as far as like how many trusted partners do you have, and how many people are you serving right now, as far as like families or caregivers? And how can people help you? How can people support your efforts, and where can you use the help?
A lot. A lot. That's the answer.
Okay.
Because it's hard to quantify it. We have so many that kind of come in and come out, right? We meet caregivers every day. We want to help as many as we can, and we would love to continue for that number to grow and grow and grow. I'm personally funding Gimme a Break right now.
Wow.
And that's not going to continue for very long. So we need help. We need donations. We need to continue doing what we're doing, but we need everyone to contribute to that. So we do need those donations, but we also need sponsorship. We need grants. We need help with grants. We need people who can guide us and get us the support that we need to keep doing what we do for caregivers, because I don't want this to go away, and neither do the caregivers. They need it. So we need your help.
Okay, so donations, they can go to your website and make the donations through GAB.
Right there.
GAB808.com. They can donate. They can buy a monthly subscription. Does that help?
Yes.
I mean, that yearly subscription for $24.99. And then you also mentioned volunteers. Do you need volunteers as well?
Yeah, we always need volunteers, especially as we're going to be able to increase our events through the year. We'll always need people with great hearts that can help. And that's kind of how Tevin got involved. He was so moved by the gala and the Caregiver of the Year that he said that it was life-changing for him. And he started volunteering, and he's just been there volunteering for us like on a daily basis. And I just appreciate that so much. And that's a lot of our volunteers come that way because we've helped them and now they want to give back. And that's the best kind of volunteer, right? So we appreciate all the people that can come and help us. We had people who just showed up and helped us when we did our Thanksgiving dinners, right? We handed out over 100 Thanksgiving dinners to caregivers by the day before Thanksgiving. And we had people who were just like, you need what? Make plates? All right, I'm there. And so, yeah, we love that. And I'll cook you a turkey, and it was great. So we're always looking for people who just want to do something and make a difference. And so if you were a caregiver and now you're not caregiving and maybe you have time, you understand, join us. If you're in caregiving now and you need us to support you, yeah, maybe you can volunteer some of your time. Maybe you can just be an inspiration to other caregivers in a community on our support sessions. So there's always ways to help out. Yes.
Wow. And I also want to re-mention that you're looking for trusted partners. You're looking for sponsorships, people to help with grants, in any way funding your organization and supporting your organization. When you say trusted partner, what is a trusted partner? When you say a sponsor, what is a sponsor?
So our trusted partners are people who have services or other nonprofits who help caregivers and assist caregivers. And we just kind of want to get to know you, and we'll support each other. We'll hold hands as a community with you. We're forming community. That's what we're doing, right? And you become part of our community. And, when it comes to we're always going to have our trusted partners there. We're going to help each other out in any way we can. As far as a sponsor, maybe that could be somebody who sponsors a gift at one of our, like the contest for the caregiver, or they could sponsor an event. Or sponsor something at the event. Maybe they'll sponsor the food for the event or anything. I mean, in any way that anyone wants to help. We are, and Lani knows this about me, I rarely ever say no. And that's kind of my problem too, is that I rarely ever say no. And I will find a way for us to help each other in one way or another, support what we're all doing. We're not in this to be rich. We're in this to help caregivers to survive. And that's what we're here for. So if you want to get in on the mission and you want to help caregivers survive, or your caregiver needs to survive, that's what we're here for. That's what we're doing. And we need help to do that.
Wow. You do events or things for the kupuna too, right? Like you have some support for kupuna as well?
We do. We don't necessarily focus on the caree, the person who needs care, because they have so much out there for somebody who needs care right? But nobody's caring for the caregivers. You know, it's funny, you had mentioned something
Yes.
about how they get exhausted. One of my high school friends had contacted me when I started Give Me a Break, and she said, oh my God, I wish I had this. She said, I just got out of the hospital. I had a heart attack because she was caring for her mother and father. And when she was in the hospital, her mom had to shoulder the load of caring for her father with Alzheimer's alone. And she ended up in the hospital a week later. They
Wow.
both had heart attacks. So caregiver burnout is real. And we
Yes.
all need to recognize that, and we need to start doing something to help caregivers to be more balanced in their wellness. My father passed from caregiver burnout. So we need to address these. We need to create an awareness in society in general, and form a community that is a voice that people hear for caregivers.
Yes, yes, yes. So needed. So real and so needed. You guys have been through your own caregiving experience, going through it too, and through this organization and meeting so many different caregivers and their experiences and having them share with you. For anybody who's going through it now that may be watching this, what's your best tips, advice, things that have got you through, got others through? What can you share that can help somebody just right now?
If I could say one thing, it would be self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity.
Self-care isn't selfish. And I would say breathe. You forget to breathe. You're going through caregiving and you're holding your breath the whole time. Just breathe. And if you can't, get on our session, we'll breathe together.
I love that. That is so beautiful. I love that. I love that. Oh, is there anything else that we need to know about Gimme a Break and what you do and how people can support you? I just want to reiterate the website is gab808.com, gab808.com, and people should go on there. Can they subscribe to the magazine, the e-magazine on there too? Through that
there's a box to click there. Yeah, you can click to get to the Giver's Guides website, and you'll see a picture of my mom and my cousin. And you can always subscribe there. It takes you to a PayPal link where you just pay for that, and then you'll receive an email acknowledgement with your link to the magazine. So,
okay, got it, got it.
yeah.
Is there any story that you would like to share that really touched you, made a difference? It could be your own, or it could be a story of someone that you've helped through this organization. Is there any story that comes to mind that really touched you, that kind of validated why you're doing this and why it's so needed in the community?
God, there's so many. We have so many stories because every single caregiver that we come in touch with, and you know, we have these things called our caregiver survival kits that we make, and they're these wonderful kits. They're just a little fun thing, but it helps you to cope. And we probably now handed out well over 500 of them to caregivers. But you know, it's about caregiver survival, right? And that's the whole thing, is that we're surviving caregiving together. One of our first big breaks that we gave was to a young lady who had cared 13 years of caregiving, starting with family members, her mom, and now to her father-in-law. Not her father, her father-in-law, who she was caring for. And he had to go to kidney dialysis 3 times a week. Well, she was working full-time. So she would take her lunch break, speed home, and then in order to get him in the handy van, they lived with a stair to it's about 15 stairs to their front door. She had to carry him on her back up and down the stairs to get him in the handy van, or to take him to dialysis and then pick him up and then bring him home after work. So even with the handy van, she couldn't get it because she would have to go there to get him in the handy van. So in order for her to get him in the handy van, she would need a way to get him up and down the stairs. So we worked with Ohana stair lifts and got a stair lift put in to her home. And so he was able to go up and down the stairs without any supervision. And then the handicap could pick him up so she wouldn't have to keep driving and racing home on her lunch break and carry him up and down stairs. And of course, she got a spa package for a spa day. So she was in tears and she just said, no one's ever, in 13 years, no one's ever done anything like this or even saw her. And she felt
Wow.
invisible.
Wow.
She just did what she had to do.
Mm.
And I think that's the whole point, is that it isn't even all that stuff. It's the fact that in a moment, and it only takes a moment, you suddenly feel visible.
Mm. That's
Yep.
beautiful. That is beautiful. Lani, did you have a thing to share?
Well, one of the things, and the reason that I felt so connected to joining this organization was that when I was in the last stages of caring for my son, and had just started working for the American Cancer Society, our executive staff came to visit me at my home, and they said, "What can we do for you?" And I said exactly that. The caregivers are invisible. There's so much out there for the caree or the survivors or the patients. There's a lot of resources for them, but the caregivers are left to themselves.
Not anymore.
Mm.
Not anymore. We're going to make a difference. And it's really important, because there was a time when caring for someone was a joy and it was an honor to do so. And in some of the historical societies, family and community helped and did that. And it was honorific to care for an aging person in the community. It was honorific to care for a sick person in the community. And now it's becoming a burden, and we're exhausted and we're tired and we're angry and we're upset and we're resentful, and that needs to change. And we're going to make a change.
That is beautiful. I mean, just so amazing. You both are so special and so incredible. Oh my gosh, God bless you both, and all the people who volunteer, your trusted partners, the people that you help, my friend Tevin, and just all that you do is just so incredible. I mean, it gets to the heart and the soul of humanity, of human beings. And it's when you talk about community, I also feel like you're talking about connection, because you're connecting all of us together. And sometimes we lose that in this world. We're all, dog eats dog, kind of, the race of life. And we're really all connected and we can help each other, like you said. So amazing, so beautiful. I hope people go to your website, gab808.com, gab808.com, and find out more about you, find out ways they can contribute. I'm just wondering how we could get businesses or schools to either do fundraisers for you, or to volunteer, or to sponsor something. But everybody can help and contribute to this effort and this organization. So hopefully people who are watching will do something, even if it's something small, like gifting the giver guide, or passing the website on to someone, or donating, or getting your school or business to contribute in some way.
Right. I say this all the time. All I need is $1 from 1 million people. That's all I need. That's all we need is $1 from 1 million people.
And I just want to say that, while we are here to support Gimme a Break, you don't have to wait for Gimme a Break to reach out to a caregiver that you know. Call somebody that's in a caregiving role and say, how can I help? Take them a meal, whatever it is, reach out to a caregiver and reach out to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so true. And you know what? That's how I made it through caregiving, is through the support of friends. And it was like that. I had friends who sent me gift cards for like room service in paradise at the time, became Bite Squad now. So
Oh,
that
I love room service in paradise.
yeah, I had friends give me a $50 gift card, and that was genius. Or bring me food, or even bring a food for my mom, or you know, I hate to say this, but you know, Meals on Wheels, I used to eat some of those meals as the caregiver, and I think other
Yes,
caregivers do too, because
because you don't feed yourself.
yeah, and sometimes my mom doesn't like it, or it was too salty or something for her. So me as the caregiver, it fed me. And
Yeah.
so I ate a lot of those meals. And I don't mean it feels wrong or weird, but that's just the reality, the truth.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so
and that's, so you see the need just continue, you're already, you can see the spiral effect here. There's the need for so much. I mean, we are just going to exponentially grow every day of things that we need to do for caregivers, and to continue to cover all those bases, because there's so much need. I mean, if you are out there and you have some specific thing that you've always wanted to be mission oriented about, God, give me a call. You know, stop by Ohana Hale Marketplace. We have a space there. Come and see us. Talk to us, because this is all part of the big picture. This is what we all need to get on. And trust me, I'll do the same thing I did with Lani. Is I'll tell you that, you know what? Here's what you can do. And I've been in business my entire life. I've grown companies in Hawaii, and I'll help you. I don't charge for my counseling or advice. I'll tell you, look, this is what we can do, and here's how we can partner up, and here's what you can do. You know, we're also looking for people to open chapters of Gimme a Break, so that we can start spreading out. We have one in Kauai right now. We'd like to get it to Maui, Big Island, and then eventually go across the big ocean, yeah, to California and all over there. So just contact us. Get on that list.
Yes, you mentioned Ohana Hale Marketplace. So you guys are there every day, and you have a space there. What do you do from that space at Ohana Hale Marketplace?
You know, it's really, we call it our safe space. So you can come there and we'll listen. You can get a massage. We got massage chairs. Come get a free massage. You know, you can talk story with whoever's there. Tevin's there. Fran's there. Rosie's there. Darren's there. I'm there on the weekends. You know, but come by, and Melanie, one of our other founders, she's there during the week as well. And, you know, it's just really a safe space to come to. And of course, you can come and make a donation anytime. We have our caregiving tree where you can put a leaf on the tree.
Wow.
But Ohana Hale Marketplace is closing by the end of March. So we will be homeless after March. We don't have another place to go to. We've been very fortunate to have the help and support of Ohana Hale Marketplace with our safe space there. But now that we lose that, we won't be able to move anywhere else. So we don't have another location. So we are also looking for people who maybe want to give a home to a nonprofit, you know, because we will be homeless after March.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
hopefully the right people are hearing that, so that they can provide that or support you in that, finding a new
Yes.
home.
Everything happens as meant to be, and the universe provides. So I know that, you know, God willing, we're doing what's from the heart, that everything will happen when it's supposed to and come to us. And I know that. And it's been an amazing ride so far, and I can't wait for what's to come.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. My final question is, what are you grateful for? I always try to start with an opening prayer or blessing and end with gratitude. So what are you grateful for? Lani and Savy.
Boy, this really hits exactly what you just did. She just did gratitude journals in her mini seminar she did. Go ahead, Lani.
So that's something I'm grateful for, the opportunity that I have to share this message with the world, and to share what I can bring to the health and wellness of our community.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm constantly grateful for all the support, and we get support in so many ways. It's amazing, and it's not always monetary. It's the heart. I'm so grateful for the connections of the heart that we've been able to make through Give Me a Break, and for the support I get from my family to continue doing this, because I certainly couldn't do that without that ohana around me. So grateful for those things.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming on with me, staying past an hour. Thank you for all the information you provided. Let me see if I can go online real quick to see if there are questions or if people posted comments to see if there's something that they wanted answered. That
I think she's breaking up, so I think
Oh.
she's saying that she's going to check out comments, and there you are.
You're freezing up a little bit, but we'll
think
stay.
she's-
okay.
Yeah, she said to continue on if she freezes up, so.
Okay, can you hear me? I'm back.
Yes, yay.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to check the comments and see if there was questions people had that I wanted to be able to answer. But it looks like Tevin was putting a lot of information in the comments, and people were saying thank you and hearting this interview. I will post the YouTube link to this interview, so for people who can watch it at a later time. As I'm talking to you, I'm thinking of all the people now that I know of that are caregiving that could have used, I could have tagged. It's like, oh my gosh, I gotta now forward the YouTube link later to everybody. This recording will be on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, but thank you so much. God bless you both and all the work that you do. You're amazing, amazing, amazing. And Savy, I cannot believe you started this saying that you're aging yourself because you were that first 4-year class at Kaiser graduating. How do you not age? Like, oh my gosh, look at you. Like, how do you not age at all? Oh my gosh.
It's hair color and really good product. Talk to Lani about what I use on my skin. But yeah, it's it's genetics. I mean, I just turned 63. This New Year's Eve is my birthday. I just turned 63.
Oh, happy birthday.
And thank you. And I'm very glad that I have my mom's genetics. It's that Asian thing, but
Wow.
trust me, I feel it every morning when I wake up.
I hear you. I hear you. But man, you don't look it at all. It's like, wow, amazing. But thank you so much. God bless you both. Thank you. And thank you everybody for tuning in.
Thank you.
And go check out gab808.com. gab808.com. And I see Kitty made a comment, and I tagged her and messaged her to tune in. She's one of my friends that is a caregiver for her husband. So hi, Kitty. So thank you so much to everybody who tuned in, and thank you for coming on and sharing all that you do. And thank you for everything that you do in our community too. Mahalo, mahalo.
Thank you.
Mahalo, Karen. Mahalo for having us.
Yeah.
Okay, now
Aloha.
I'm aloha, everybody.